Good morning, Kahal Kadosh, Beruchim Abayim to everyone. Today, Erev Rosh Chodesh Elul, Wednesday, the 29th day of Menachem Av, corresponding to the 16th day of August. Today's special breakfast and class, graciously sponsored by Mrs. Denise Beda and her children, David Beda and family, as well as Ronnie Beda and family, Le'ilui Nishmat, the beloved husband, and her beloved husband and father, Yaakov Beda Hamuya Kohen, Ben Sara Alav Shalom. Someone that I knew going back over 30 years in the olden days of, I think, Roma Chain on Southeast 1st Avenue, I believe, Ronnie, and Flagler Street. In that office, hundreds of Torah classes were given, correct?
Yes.
And one of the first minyanim in downtown Miami was established in their location, in their office. And I remember vividly your dear father sitting down, always greeting people with a smile, always happy, reading Tehilim, listening to Torah classes, praying whenever was possible the minyan in the office. So I'm sure that he is in a good location in Gan Eden, and Yiratzon, that it should be a melitz yosher for your dear mother, and for all the sons, the daughter, the grandchildren, and obviously great-grandchildren, I believe, as well, from the different sides of the family. Additionally, today's class, dedicated by Yaakov Kobi Cohen, in honor of all of the members of the Netz Minyan, that includes also the rabbi and the Hazan, and a special dedication for the Refuah Shelema of a young member of the local community that his life is in critical condition, Meir Aviv Abraham Ben Rivka. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him a refuah shelema among the cholim of all of Am Yisrael. Amen. Today, I'd like to take a detour from the usual learning, and as I mentioned in the past, once Rosh Chodesh Elul comes, we move on into the learning of the holy book called Tomer Devora, that is suggested reading for the month of Elul. Very powerful book, very meaningful and very practical for everyday life. And Baruch Hashem, we have been following this protocol for many years, and Baruch Hashem, we always have something new to learn or to say. And Be'ezat Hashem, we'll do this hopefully tomorrow or Friday. I'll make that decision, or the latest on Sunday, since we all know that Sunday morning, Be'ezat Hashem, the Sephardic world begins with this recitation of the special Selihot prayers. Our synagogue will be offering 2 minyanim for Selihot as always, 5:20 before the nets, and 7 o'clock. The 7 o'clock minyan will be moving upstairs to the Midrash room, the Kolel room, and Be'ezat Hashem, to be followed by Shaharit at 8, or in the main sanctuary as always, 8:20. So today I have a special bonus for the Kahal Kadosh. I'd like to speak about a chapter of Tehilim that I must recognize that despite the fact that Baruch Hashem, I learn and I read and I follow and I research, but I never ceases to amaze myself on the vast availability of our Torah and the greatness of our Torah. And today I'd like to speak about a very powerful chapter of Tehilim that we recite every day of our life in a weekday level, not on Shabbat and not on holidays. And I'd like to bring some secrets, some highlights, some benefits, and some difference of tradition between the Sephardic and Ashkenazic costume, which you'll be surprised on this topic as well. So the topic that I'd like to speak about is chapter 25 of the book of Tehilim. The chapter is called Ledavid Elecha Hashem Nafshi Esa, one of the powerful chapters of Tehilim. Before this chapter is the chapter of Parnasah, the one that we say in the night of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, Ledavid Mizmor, LaHashem Haaretz Umlo'ah. Before that is another chapter of Parnassah on a smaller scale, which usually we recite on Shabbat, or whenever people recite the reading of the man. Mizmor LeDavid, Hashem Ro'i Lo Ihsar. God is my shepherd, nothing shall be lacking. But today I'm going to discuss chapter 25. Now, this chapter, and I'm using as a source 3 books. You may have at home the Orot Sidur. Some information is from there. The other book is the new Sephardic Art Scroll book that has a lot of commentaries as well, and translation, and my own personal Sidur Titkabal, that has a lot of insights. And one of the reasons why I use this prayer book is because of the insights. And once you understand the insights, automatically your prayer will become more meaningful. But I'm going to start right away, so I'd like to cover this in the next half hour if it's possible, which I believe it should be. So let me go quickly in the halakha. The halakha calls the tahanunim vidui. Why it's called vidui? Confession. Ashamnu, bagadnu, we have become guilty, we trade, we spoke slander, we robbed, perversion, wickedness. All this is called vidui, Anna. After you say Baya'avor, or we say Baya'avor, what do we say? Rahum behanun, the compassionate and gracious one, hatanu lefanecha, we have seen before you, Rahem alenu be'oshi'enu, have mercy on us and save us. Why our holy rabbis established this prayer after the Amidah? Short answer. The Zohar says that when a person does the Amidah we know is divided into 3 segments. The praising Hashem, requests from Beracha Ata Honen till the Retzeh, and from Retzeh till the end, it's called Hoda'ah, gratitude. So the Zohar Kadosh says, after we finish praying the Amidah, the Malachim get an email or WhatsApp, I don't know what they use in Shamayim, and they see a list. Yosef Galimidi requested all these things in the Amidah. Let's run his credit score. Does he qualify for those requests, or we must bounce the request? That's not good to do, because I'm praying, hoping that I will get approved. I don't pray knowing that I'm going to be denied. Although our rabbis tell us that don't worry about the approval or rejection. You pray. The Zohar Kadosh writes, and it says that when the Malachim are about to review the file and they may not get an approval, God says, don't rush to judge that person. Why not? Says, because he told me as soon as he finishes the Amidah that he regrets the sins that he committed. So once he told me that he regrets, God says, I'm willing to give a chance to the person. That's what the Zohar Kadosh says. That's why it's called vidui, confession. So far, so good? Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Then we have something called nefilat apayim, the lowering of the face. Sephardim don't do this. Ashkenazim do it. Depends on the prayer. If you wear tefillin, you do it on the opposite hand. In the afternoon, they do it with the right hand. In the morning, with the left hand. In the morning, because of the tefillin, they switch hands. I'm not very familiar with all these halachic parameters, but I do know a bit in this topic. And if you ever go to any Ashkenazic synagogue, you will see exactly, or Hasidic synagogue. But I will tell you one more thing, and I did the research, that in the Ashkenazic Sidur, at least the 2 versions that I checked, Nusach Ashkenaz and Nusach Sfard, do not have this chapter of Tehilim. They have something else. They have a few scattered lines, but one of the lines is what the Sephardic tradition will say in the Selihot. That says, Vayomer David el Gad, Sarli me'od, nipelana beyad Hashem, nipelana. I'd rather be delivered in the hand of God and not in the hands of humans. So they also use the word nipela. Nipela is the same motion of nefilat apayim. So here is the question. If the halakha calls it, even in the Sephardic Siddur and in the Shulchan Aruch, nefilat apayim, the lowering of the face, why Sephardic people don't do the lowering of the face if it's halakha? Not only that, what is the halakha? That when you finish saying Baya'abor, everybody needs to sit, including the Hazan. And he says this on an undertone. I will clarify. This is different than Selihot. In the Selihot, the Syrian tradition is not to sit, to remain standing for this chapter, and to say it out loud. Why? Because Selihot and Tahanunim of Shaharit are two different menus. Because many years ago, I had this question. If I already said all the Tahanunim in Selihot, why do I need to repeat the whole Tahanunim in Shaharit? Give me a discount. It says very simple. Two different worlds. Two different aspects. The Selihot Tahanunim is for the atonement of Rahamim of Elul. The Selihot, the Tahanun of Shaharit is to protect me from the accusations of the angels when I give God, I need this and this and this and this. If I'm going to come with requests, I better have enough credit line. It's like you go to a store and you want to buy using your credit card. It's very embarrassing, God forbid, it should never happen, that the credit card is declined. Why the credit card is declined? Chazak u'baruch. Either you over-exceeded your credit line, either your card has been frozen, maybe they suspect fraud, could be all of the above. But believe me, it's not pleasant in the supermarket. You try to pay with a credit card and it's declined. In Shamayim it's not different. I give God, can you run my account? I want a credit for this, for this, for this, for this, for this. The Malachim says, okay, you want an extension in your credit line? What happens if you apply for an extended credit line in your credit card? What do you have to do? Chazak u'baruch. They have to check your credit score. Maybe you qualify, maybe you don't qualify. Sometimes the bank is so generous and you're such a good guy that they give you an approved extra amount. But if you, me, anyone wants to request an extended line of credit, they need to run your credit score to see if you pay on time, if you are reliable, if you're trustworthy, etc. I know your question. How do I know so much about this? Because I'm human like you are. And I go through all the motions like any other person. I may be the rabbi in the shul, but to the bank, I'm not a person. I'm a number. Like you are a number. What's your credit score? What's your social security number? They don't care who you are, where you're from, how many languages you speak, your level of religiosity. They don't care about that. You're a number. I am a number. You too.
I have in my store, I have one time the president of Colombia
Yes.
came to buy, and the credit card was declined.
Yes.
So I called up American Express and I said, listen, he's the president of Colombia. He says, I don't care who he is. The car is declined.
Chazak u'baruch. Chazak u'baruch. And it happens a lot with foreign credit cards. Even happens in the office. Somebody calls us from overseas. Please, I would like to clear my bill. Run the credit card. And guess what? Once they see it, an American transaction from an overseas card, often, rule number one, decline. You see this in your business as well. Beautiful. Let's continue. So, I like to start basically describing two things that I mentioned inside, and then I'll give you maybe 8 things, and time allowing, a few more. Okay? Now, the first reading comes from, also found in the Orot Sidur, also found in the Art Scroll. I'm going to speak by heart, I think it's faster. Number 1, this chapter of Tehilim, like the Ashrei that we say, it's based on the Hebrew alphabet. Ashrei is missing one verse with the letter Nun, and the Ledavid is missing 3 letters. And when I say missing, I don't mean through the chapter, I mean missing in the beginning of a sentence. The 3 letters missing are letter Bet, letter Vav, letter Kof. That makes the word Bok or book. Okay? Bok or book. No bookie, that's a different story. I know you laughed. Bok or book. Now, what's the meaning of the word Bok or book? From Nahum, the pasuk of Hosea, rather, no, Mechila, Nahum, it's from Nahum, is a different source. This is a different pasuk altogether. I believe the word, the pasuk in Nahum says, Bok or Boca, no Boca from Argentina. That's a Mavdil. Boca Raton. Why it's called Boca Raton? Probably because of the Mexican conquistadores. That's why in Boca, a lot of the neighborhoods and streets and residential complexes have Spanish names in honor of the first colonos from Mexico, I believe, going back centuries before Florida became part of the United States. I'm not that knowledgeable of geography, but I think that in that, I know that that's what you see. Boca Raton, Boca del Mar, La Hacienda, El Camino, all these Spanish names are found commonly in Boca. But we are aware, Boca does not have so much Hispanic residents like Miami-Dade County has. It's mostly Americans, by the way. But because of the conquistadores, that's why they kept the Spanish names. Let's go back. Boca, in the pasuk of Nahum, Boca represents somebody that is an empty person, a baseless person, a base person. What does it mean, empty person? A person that the Gemara calls it eno min hayshub. It's not part of society. That means a person that doesn't have much spiritual connection. That means a person that his way of life and a person way of behaving is not pleasant, is not nice, etc. That's one explanation. The Torah is telling, the pasuk is telling us, that's not who you are as a Jew. If you activate all the gifts and the potential that God gives us and the Torah gives us, you will become someone in your life. As a husband, as a father, as a Jew, obviously. Second explanation, these 3 letters missing, Bet, Vav, Kof, make up the number 108, which is the same numerical value as the word Gehinam. So our rabbis tell us that a person that is meticulous in reciting this chapter properly, after 120, the person will earn bonus points in their neshama, or let's call them an upgrade, that if God forbid the person must go to the spiritual cleansing called Gehinam, this prayer buys them protection. You have extra insurance policy. Your health insurance today probably is 80-20. Usually that's how it goes. 80-20. 80 covered, 20% not covered. Some people have an extra supplemental insurance to cover the pending 20. So look at this prayer like the 20% that gives you the unpaid original balances. Obviously, I'm not an expert in the laws of insurance, but I'm a human. So I know, as a human, I need to know all these things. So this is one basic introduction. Another concept, and it says from the Kaf HaHaim and the Magen Avraham. And it says as follows: This is based on the Zohar Kadosh. Why we don't lower our head? And I will say the following. Despite the fact that the Ashkenazic tradition is to lower the head, because this is their tradition, so this is it. But in the Sephardic tradition, that is based more on Zohar, Kabbalah, than the Ashkenazic tradition, that is based more on Halacha, you need to know this. A lot of the rulings of the Sephardic Halacha follow the ruling between Zohar and Kabbalah. I give you one example that you do this every day. And I'm not sure if you know why you do it every day. So today we are learning one extra matter. That this chapter, from the Halacha we should do this or this, from the Zohar says, sit down, don't do anything. Another example, how Sephardim put on the tefillin of the hand. According to the Halacha, standing. Ashkenazim, standing, because that's the Halacha. But yet, what is the Halacha in the Sephardic tefillin? You sit. Why you sit? To put it on. Why you sit? Also to say the Beracha. Why do you sit? Because that's the Zohar ruling. That's why you'll see that some people who know this, when they say the Beracha, I'm a leftist, I put it on my right, and he says, they do this. Why they do this? To fulfill the Shulchan Aruch ruling. But because the Zohar says, sit down, we sit down. I'll bring you one more. According to the Shulchan Aruch, you're supposed to wear sisit katan. I'm not checking anybody today. All right? You're on advance notice already. Today I'm not checking. But according to the Shulchan Aruch, you should have the sisit katan on top of your shirt like the Hasidim wear. Did you know that?
No. Not to touch to your body.
That's for many reasons. Reason number one, the sisit katan should not touch the body of the person. That they do mesh sisit and they do t-shirt sisit, that's halachically okay, not ideal. Ideal is that you have an undergarment and then the sisit on top. Why? Because it's not respectful for the sisit to absorb your sweat. You may say, Rabbi, I sweat a lot. I know what you're asking. I understand, but so what? You think that the summer doesn't affect me? I don't remember in my life that I ever wore sisit without undershirt. And if I did it, I'm regretting. I don't think I ever did it. Because from childhood, from the kitab, we learn kavod to the sisit, undershirt, and sisit on top. Now, so why we don't wear it outside? If the Shulchan Aruch says we don't wear it outside, why don't we wear it? We don't wear it. Short answer, because of people may not be comfortable wearing the sisit outside, especially because of society, because of the world of business, because of anti-Semitism. But in the Hasidic world, and occasionally you see it here or in Brooklyn, how they wear sisit katan, not the strings outside. That's even Sephardim do in many circles. The sisit on top of the shirt. But we don't do it, so don't get ideas today. If you're going to come tomorrow with the sisit outside, I know what you're thinking already. I will tell you, please put it inside. It's not our tradition. Like I said something to somebody today, what you do is very wonderful, but this is not the way we do it in the synagogue. Please follow the protocols of the synagogue. I said it with love, and he says, I knew that you were going to tell me something about it. I said, so if you know, what are you doing?
Wanted your attention. But is anything
Okay,
wrong?
maybe he wanted TLC.
Is anything wrong if they do it?
We don't do it. Once our Hachamim tells us, sit down for the tefillin, or once the Hachamim says, wear the sisit under your shirt, that's it. Even though it may be holier and more protecting I will tell you one thing, that once you wear the tzitzit outside, by default, you're going to become a better person. Why? Because you're going to think twice. It's like sometimes you want to react. Let's say I'm in a store, I'm in a certain place, and I like to say something. But you know what? I said to myself, I better stay quiet. Don't say, be respectful, be polite, be thankful. You know, and I said this in the past, I go to a place, even though I'm not 100% happy perhaps with the service, I leave a tip. Why? Because I don't want anyone to say, look at this religious Jew, look at this rabbi. And even though I try to hide, somehow, somewhere, people recognize me. I don't know why, but people do. So that's why I always look for synagogues when I travel that I can go, that nobody going to put me on the spot. I'm running out of them in Brooklyn. I need to maybe go to Queens. But Queens is also dangerous for me. I have to go to a Hasidic synagogue on the ground, in the basement, in Shtibel. I don't know, אני לא מדבר Yiddish, which I do, but you know, this way you speak to them in Hebrew. Okay, you're visiting from Israel. But the reality is that I think twice. Even if I need to do something, I try, with Hashem's help, obviously, to remember that what we represent is above my customer entitlement. Comment or unhappy with the service. The valet brings up, I give him a tip. Somebody told me, why are you paying? Why you give him a tip? Because you know what? I don't want this goy, this Gentile, to curse me. Number one, that's what we do at Tarat Kelalo. And we learned the other day that no one should ever curse you. Not a Jew or not a Gentile. Because curses of a Gentile are more dangerous than a Jew. Sure. Because they keep the animosity eternally. That's what's written in the holy books.
I thought we were in Mazal.
That's as a collective nation of Israel, not individually. If you mistreated a Gentile, or you were not kind or respectful to a Gentile, guess what? If they talk about us, or they make a comment, that comment does not go unnoticed. That's what's written in the holy books. So don't think because it's a goy that you can afford it. The opposite. Certain sins are worse done to a goy than to a Gentile, including stealing and cursing. Next. So we discussed about the letters. And it says that the Magen Abraham writes that in some synagogues do not say this chapter. Not Sephardic, but Ashkenazic. Ben Ish Hai explains, and quoted in the Kaf HaHaim, and also written by Rabbi Yaakov Hillel, that the kavanah that this chapter requires is beyond our capabilities, perhaps. And there are reasons why, which I hopefully will talk about it soon. If not, Beli Nether will continue tomorrow, because this is fascinating. It says that it's so difficult to truly achieve the required concentration that our rabbi says, don't lower it, because the moment I lower my head, what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to have kavanah. Like Shema. Why in Shema you cover your eyes like this? You take your talet, you say Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Why the elongation? Because in the word Echad, I must think of three things. Aleph, God is one. Het, eight, godliness covers the physical world, including planet Earth and the 7 levels of the heaven. That's the number 8. That's why the number 8 is above nature. And the Dalet of the 4 represents north, south, east, and west. God is everywhere, from above to below. And this is only one verse. Can you imagine an entire chapter of Tehilim? How long will it take us? A long time. That's why we don't lower the head. Because if you lower the head, you're supposed to have the proper kavanah. And that's why in the Shema, many people do this. But according to the holy books, you should do this. Why? Because with these fingers, you are formulating Hashem's name. Shin, Dalet, Yod. Shin, Dalet, and Yod. Shakai. Same representation of the Tehilim. You have the Shin on the bite of the head. You have the Dalet on the knot in the back of the head. And the Yod on the bite of the hand. Shin, Dalet, Yod. Shema, Shin, Dalet, Yod. Mezuzah, Shin, Dalet, Yod. This is one of the names of Hashem, earmarked for protection. So far, so good. I'll continue 5 more minutes with your permission. I'm going to read Kafa Haim, Perietz Haim, and then tomorrow we'll give you some more benefits. Even though tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, we're not going to say Ledavid, but I'd like to wrap this chapter, and I believe that becoming aware of the power of this chapter, will have more kavanah and value what we are saying. So, I mentioned 3 letters missing. I explained about emptiness, baseless person, Gehinam. Now let's read the 3 letters which are repeated. The letter Aleph, the letter Pe, and the letter Resh. So it says, for example, the Aleph, the David, Elecha, Elokai Becha Batachti, and then you have Pena Elai Behoneni, Ki Ahid Be'ani Ani, and then we have the Resh, Re'e Oni Ba'amali, Re'e Oibai Kirabu. So we have these 3 letters that are repeated twice. And the question is, why? Short answer. These 3 letters, Pe, Aleph, Resh, gives us the word Pe'er, beauty, crown. And the letters Pe, Aleph, Resh, if I reverse the order, Resh, Pe, Aleph, is Rapeh. What's the meaning of the word Rapeh with Aleph? Refuah, healing. There are 2 levels of healing. One healing is spiritual, the way the Navi says, Erpa Meshubatam, Teshuvah heals the neshama and the body, but also there is a pasuk that says, Re'e Oni Ba'amali, look at my afflictions and my toil, Be'sa lekol hatotai, and forgive me on all my sins. So it says clearly here, and I'm going to give you now the source of this, because it's in the other book. It says, just one second, right here, and it says, Tefilat Haim, in the name of Geonei Olam, and Igra de Pirkat, chapter 124, a person that does not feel well. Well, here is 2 topics. Number 1, physical conditions, God forbid, or suffering or anxiety in life. He should say the verse that says, Re'e Oni Ba'amali, which is towards the end of the chapter, that it says, see my afflictions, my pain, my suffering, and my toil. And it says, when you say that verse, you should say that nothing happens. I skipped. No, it's the next one. It says, have in his mind, nothing happens by pure coincidence, but it's all godly sent message. And when a person thinks of this nature, refuah, healing, starts activating. Number 2, a person that has any medical condition, even physical pain, headaches, and different body parts, he should train themselves to say the next pasuk that's the same pasuk. Re'e oni ba'amali, see my affliction and my toil. Afflictions, no affection. Affection means love. Affliction means pain and suffering. And forgive all my sins, and also have in mind the beracha that we say, Refaenu Hashem menerape. Hashem, you are the healer, and have kavanah on this verse, and the refu'ah be'ezat Hashem will become activated. I'm going to read quickly the benefits of this prayer when done properly. If you're going to, that's nothing. So the Hazarim need to be aware of this. I already spoke in the first minyan on this topic at length. So it says, benefits. You become a new being because you do teshuvah. Number 2, you get the extra power to fight against the Yetzer Hara. Number 3, once you're improving yourself as a Jew and as a person, so the secrets of the Torah and the understanding of the Torah becomes more obvious in the life of the person. Number 4, you develop a stronger connected with the Almighty. Number 5, the Shamayim will guide you in your life. Hashem brings you great blessing. No sins come your way because now you have defense mechanism. And after the person leaves the world, there is a fast track admission to Gan Eden. Let's call it global entry. Have you heard of global entry at the airport? So imagine yourself, your transition from life to the afterlife. Also, you go to immigration because you're emigrating from the earth to the heavens. You meet an immigration officer. Who is the immigration officer? The Malachim. The Zohar Kadosh says there is a welcoming committee in the heavens. There are 2 groups of welcoming committees. The good guys or the tough guys. The tough guys, they tell you, you know what? We're not sure. Go to the room for further research. True, by the way. Who are the good guys? All the good deeds that you did, and the souls connected to the people that you helped throughout your life. They come to say thank you because you took care of them. You took care of their son, or you took care of their grandchildren, whichever it may have been. You helped them to get through life, or you helped them to get married, or you give them good advice. You did something good to help. It doesn't go unnoticed. So it says the person that is careful in this chapter, his entry to Gan Eden will be expedited. You see, you have a global entry. Yeah, what's your global entry? Chapter 25. You don't have to go to an interview with Homeland Security. You don't have to fill up a form online. Just do your prayer, and Shamayim has something that the earth doesn't have. They don't lose records. They have records for eternity. That's why a tax return, we all know well. I'm going to say 2 things, and I'm going to finish for today. The tax return, we know, is not so easy to do. Although there are some tax returns which are very basic, and you go to an online platform and you do it, but certain tax returns are complicated. If you have assets, if you have investments, if you have a business, profit losses, harvesting losses, whatever that means in the language of accounting. I'm a human, so I go through this, so I know a bit. And at the end of the day, the accountant it's like he needs to decipher and combine all these elements to do a proper tax return to submit it to the government. This is how it works on the planet Earth. In Shamayim, the only one in charge of the accounting system is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is God. Sure, the Malachim are the bookkeepers. That's why you have Kategor, Sanegor. The one group of angels that gives you every manageable deduction, you like that? Or you have the standard. No itemized deduction. They give you standard. Avon, avon, mitzvah, mitzvah. Sin, sin, commandment, good deed, good deed. God says, you provided this for me, thank you very much. I'm going to audit your tax return. What does it mean, auditing? It's to our benefit. To all of us, if I say the word auditing, it's a scary word.
Can you have extension?
Of course. Teshuvah, it's called applying for an extension. Asking for forgiveness. Feeling regret of the sin. It's asking for an extension. Of course. Excellent question. But don't abuse the system. If you're going to see, give me an extension, but we don't change. Give me an extension and we don't change. Guess what? You run out of extensions. I don't know how many times you can extend. One extension only. So you know what the Gemara says? 3 words. Lefum sa'ara agra. According to the hardship or effort, God rewards the person. Let's take simple examples. For someone that is young, to run to do a mitzvah or to come to the synagogue is not complicated. For somebody that is elderly and needs to come slowly with a walker or with a wheelchair, or they can only come when someone comes with them, and they come to the synagogue, both people are praying in the same minyan. But guess what? The more effort and sacrifice a person makes to do something, the more the reward. Let's say you have a good deal to make, like I told the story on Shabbat. You have an appointment with Walmart. Walmart says, I'm willing to see you. Come to see me in Arkansas. Of course, we'll be there on time. But guess what? You're going to book the ticket, then you see in the calendar, it's Pesach, the holiday of Passover. You cannot fly. You're not going to spend Pesach in Arkansas. Imagine yourself, you have to tell Walmart, thank you for the appointment, but we need to reschedule. You don't reschedule with Walmart. Walmart reschedule with you. So the fellow was understanding. We'll meet in a few weeks. Gives them another date. Going to book the ticket. Shavuot. The next holiday. Now tell Walmart, I cannot be there because it's Shavuot. So what you do, you call Walmart, the person, the contact person, and you show them the Hebrew calendar so them to understand that you're not sketching, because the Gentile world is aware of maybe 3 Jewish holidays or 4 the most. Pesach, because you see it all over the supermarkets. Hanukkah, Rosh Hashanah, and Kippur. Forget about Sukkot, forget about Shavuot. Sure, they learn, but you don't see much action in Publix, Winn-Dixie, all these markets for the entire world. I mean, for the United States, obviously. So the fellow from Walmart, he says, I see that your religion convictions are very strong. So because of this, we are willing to reschedule on a date that you will tell me. If it's okay with me, we'll meet. They send an email or a fax. It was the fax time. Says we are willing to travel the day after Shavuot. It wasn't on a Friday. It wasn't a weekday. Baruch Hashem, they went and they had a very successful meeting. And who was that person in charge? A German Gentile. A Gentile from Germany. He says, I'm impressed at your conviction. I don't know too many people in the world that will tell Walmart, I'm sorry, my beliefs are more important than a meeting with Walmart. But, Baruch Hashem, Oseh Mitzvah, Lo Yedat Davar Ra. You need to know this. When you want to do things proper and right, guaranteed success. And if you don't see it today, that success will come at the right that you will need the success. Not when you want it. It's like you pray for Parnasah. And God says, thank you, but not today. For today, you have. But when a week from now or a month from now, out of the blue, an opportunity lands on your lap, a great deal comes to you. You buy out a store that's selling out, or suddenly they offer you a bunch of merchandise that you can, is a great deal and is in your same alley. And suddenly, that time, God answered your prayer that you did a month ago, that you even forgot that you did. That's why I said the ultimate accountant is God. God puts the elements, who the person is, the age, the effort, the sacrifice that a person needed to do. Imagine you have a meeting at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and you tell the person, I'm sorry, at 6 o'clock I gotta go pray mincha at the synagogue because I need to say Kaddish. I can meet with you at 7 or at 5. You know what God says? You were willing to make this sacrifice for me, it will not go unnoticed. But only that's a godly power that Hashem has. Be'ezat Hashem, I hope that this chapter creates a whole new awareness of the beauty of chapter 25. I know we're not going to say it today, rather tomorrow or today, but Be'ezat Hashem, when Sunday comes, have this in mind. And very nether tomorrow, I'll try to continue discussing additional benefits. For this, you're going to be surprised at some of them. And we'll talk also, Be'ezat Hashem, about Chodesh Elul, Chodesh Tov B'Siman Tov, tonight, first night of Rosh Chodesh. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen Be'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך. הרבה להם תורה מצוות שנאמר, אדוני חפש למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר, קדיש.
יגדל ויקדש שם רבה.
אמן.
דיברה וכותב וימים הכותב, ישמע וקרב וקרב ושכם.
אמן.